A great welcome to another Behind the Badge from Confare. I'm very happy to have Maria Blengino from Sunrise in the call. Hello, Anna. Nice to see you.
Hi, Michael. Nice to see you.
Anna, you're nominated for the Confare Swiss CIO Award, and you are part of Sunrise, which is a major telecom provider in Switzerland. Maybe you can tell us something about the telecom market as it is right now, and your role as a CIO in this market.
Sure. I think it's known by everyone that would listen to this interview, because Sunrise is one of the three big players in the telco market in Switzerland. Telco market who evolved a lot in the last decades, from the simple, let's say, mobile service provider. Then we started to offer also the fixed net and the connectivity till the TV services, and now it's another kind of revolution, because the market is kind of saturated, and all the providers all over the world, not only in Switzerland, are adding new adjacent services to their portfolios. So you see that we make of our main product, that is connectivity, the basis to offer end-to-end experiences to our customers. And with that, we start giving other services, so-called OTT, services, so TV proposition or streaming proposition, and not only insurances, security products, and so on. Everything that needs a connectivity, it's related to that. Sunrise is well known in Switzerland. We are the biggest private, let's say, telco provider. Our history started more than 20 years ago as a standalone company. A few years back, we got acquired due to the merger with the UPC by a big group called Liberty Global. They are worldwide, and we were one of these opcos. And I had the honor to drive the consolidation of these two companies from a technology point of view. And just last November, we spun off, and we are back to the Swiss market, from Nasdaq to the SIX, again independent, and really focusing again on the pure Swiss market as a Swiss company. And I'm CIO since April 2023. So it's my finished 2 years in this role, but joined Sunrise 20 years ago. So.
Okay, so you really know the company.
Yes.
How do you think did the CIO role evolve in this time?
It did a lot. I mean, we were in the past, even in Sunrise, we didn't have a CIO. We had the CTO covering both roles, network and IT. But IT, with the time, it's becoming more and more relevant, and after the merger, we decided to have a CIO role, because we are moving a lot of changes towards the pure IT. Also, our business is becoming much more in this IT business engaged, and with this new agile way of working. And it's we're really driving, instead of being a simple recipient of requirements and delivering 6 months later what probably would match the requirement. Now we are an active part. We sit at the executive committee table. We suggest the business what they should do, and we drive them in using the new technologies that are emerging so fast. So we are bringing at the table ideas also for the company strategy, which was not the case in the past. And we have a big role. Instead of, let's say, being head of IT, we are more change leaders, and not only change manager. There is a big difference. So we also take with us the purpose of the change. We help business explaining these changes, and we help business going to the clients, especially in the B2B sector, to explain them what's coming on and how our clients should adapt to this big transformation that is coming from the new technologies.
Can you tell me more or explain a little bit more this difference between change manager and change leader? How would you define that?
Change manager kind of oversees and makes sure that a change is implemented with all the good aspects of this, but still is a passive role. A change leader pulls the team that is working in these changes to believe and to understand the reason why we are doing this. And like that, the commitment and the accountability of the team becomes more real and higher. And they really, if they understand why you're doing something, the results are way higher in terms of quality. And also it generates certain, I call it the safe space to work, where all their feedback, all their contribution are valued because they understand why we are doing things, and then the best ideas are put in around the table and are discussed. Yeah.
It's a very proactive role for the for your IT, and it really changes the way you work together with business. And how can you or can you explain how this change happens in the company? How this working together with business and IT evolves through this proactive role?
Sure, and it was not easy, as you can imagine, because it was a big change in our operating model, where IT in the ivory tower pretended to be the only recipient of the technical knowledge. Business pretended to know things that they assumed they were able to do, but they never did. So it can generate a lot of attrition, and this is where, as CIO, you have to work hard to explain your team that this is why business wants to be engaged, is because they want to be closer to express and validate their requirements. So it's not, a conflict of interest and so on. And on the other hand, you have to make sure that the business working on these big transformations are educated enough or brought to a certain level of know-how that they can really talk the same language, and they can work on some pieces of evolutionary changes, So we had a lot to set up in terms of trainings and bringing up the business to a certain technology know-how. And the other way around, we had to instruct the IT people to talk business language. And at the end, it proved to be a very good exercise, because it, let's say, supports the cross collaboration. And at the end, in the interest of the end customers, this is the best way, because you really implement what is needed, and not just after months, as I said before, validate, is this what you wanted? But it was not easy. And the best was top-down leadership walk the talk. So we changed also our way of planning, of controlling, of setting the budget approval and so on, because you have to change from a fire and forget old style project mode to a more agile way of working. And this also comes from the executive committee down. If they see us setting other rules, then they are motivated to work in the new way, and they don't have impediments, because you can be agile as you want, but then if you have to follow other processes that are not, it's a contradiction.
This kind of agile ways of working you described, they are not easy to implement, but they are also not easy to sustain, to really live them on longer terms.
Yeah, and we learned the secret was to link still the deliverables to certain, let's say, OKR or some measurements. I know that agile sometimes is perceived as the most highest freedom of, actually is not. There are strict rules in agile, all these ceremonies and so on, but also we need to measure somehow the outcome, also to understand if we need to fine tune, change the trajectory, and so on. And so with that, we could convince the business that this was the right approach. In fact, they could have their deliverables with a better time to market. And when they saw them realizing their benefits earlier, they immediately embraced the story. Yeah. That is true. At the beginning, it's like a jump in the dark, and they have to trust. Trust is at the basis of any transformation. Yeah.
Okay. And what would you suggest CIOs to gain this trust, to have this freedom to change the organization so fundamentally?
Yeah, it's as I said, do not start floating without having a North Star to follow as a direction. Always measure and report successes and also failures, because we did fail, and we also celebrated the failures, because the moment you celebrate a failure and you understand what you made wrong, it's a big lesson for the future not to repeat, unless the conditions around are changing. And this is also what we apply now in the AI use cases that we are bringing live. Out of 10, maybe 8 or 9 fail, but we fail early enough not to waste too much effort, but to learn a lot on why we failed, and not to have other people doing the same again. If nothing is changed, it will fail again. So the culture of failure, it's as well as important as the culture of success. And I think that this is our leader role to introduce and to make sure that we learn from failures, not just keep them under the carpet, because there is a lot of value, unfortunately or fortunately, in a failure. Yeah.
Of course. You told us that you put strong emphasis in the in internal mobility and personal growth.
Yeah.
So how do you maintain this kind of learning organization?
Yeah, for example, when we have open new positions, we don't open immediately outside. We keep for a couple of weeks internally. So, and as leaders, we are not jealous of our people, if in the interest of the company and also of the talent growing of these colleagues. So we really promote horizontal moving across the units or inside the teams. We then have also a program of developing the resources with trainings and all what you could offer internally and externally. We have good partnership with our major service providers and also our hyperscalers that are giving us a big academy portfolio, let's say, where our employees can learn, can get certifications and grow like this. We also promote a lot the graduate programs. So we are in contact with the local universities, the polytechnics, and we go there to give lectures, but we also have the occasion to get to know the great talents that they are coming out from the local universities. We have this graduate program where they come and they can bring us the fresh know-how. I mean, personally, I didn't study AI in school because but they did. So I even set up a reverse mentoring program where these young people come to me every week and teach me things. You know, we never stop learning. We also have a good program for apprenticeship. So we have this new generation coming, and we encourage this in any direction, because only moving and learning can open you new doors. And I am one example of this. You know, I grew up in the company in 20 years, really started very low, leading a team of 5, and moved in any department of IT before being appointed CIO. So I really like the idea of getting your own experience as a booster, let's say, to grow also vertically. Yeah.
And this knowledge of the company and the politics of such a company helps you in your CIO role as well.
Yeah. It's for every. I mean, if you check our EC, majority of us were here before in other roles and then got promoted to that level. So we really, as company, promote internal growth. And and of course, then if there is a need of an expert role that we don't have internally, we also have great injection of external talents. But we really have this culture of internal promotions. Yes.
You mentioned AI before. How important is AI on your CIO agenda?
Oh, it is a lot, because I kind of got the mandate to democratize and accelerate AI in the company, which is not only giving technical trainings on the AI tools. At the end, what matters is how people are using these tools to really solve problems and generate value. So for me, it's important to run these programs to create this proximity of the people and try to convince them to use all the new opportunities we have without being scared, because you can have two reactions. The first time they do something, and if something goes wrong, they are burned, they don't want to touch it anymore. Or the other way around, they are too much confident, and then they can misuse this without still thinking that they have to validate and check. So it's really a cultural change, also a cultural education that we need to go and implement. Is not only the technical know-how, because then the technical know-how is just in a limited number of people, the ones that are building up the agentic frameworks and so on. But it's really convincing people or opening their eyes to arrive to a point that they say, aha, AI could help me here. And then either being capable to do or ask for help and learn how to improve their inefficiencies in the daily work by using these great opportunities that AI is bringing us. Of course, another big role I had was to implement it in a safe and compliant way, because we talk here about customers' data. So we really had to set up the foundation first before opening, and we made everything in a secure framework. We did a lot of education, do and don't, and we even blocked certain tools, certain accesses, as long as you work with the confidential data or company strategy data. Is not even customer strategic things that they shouldn't go outside, So, and also we have more than 40 trained models, so we have to protect these models not to be, let's say, polluted by external things. So these barriers towards the external pollution have been set up before any opening, But it is quite a journey, and we are just at the start, The problem is that when you are done, the day after you see a new version of ChatGPT, and so it's very hectic, but also very, very interesting, because every day is something new,
Of course, things change, times are changing. I talk a lot to CIOs, and I always hear about you hear a lot about AI POCs. But most of the CIOs find it difficult to make it scalable. So what would be your recommendations to implement scalable AI?
What we did also, we had, out of our, let's say, big portfolio of POC, we identified scalable use cases, and we are now in production for the entire company for all of them. My recommendation is really to set a kind of point of no return for decisioning. It's time to scale or not, but not so far in the down the calendar. But I mean, in 1-2 months, you can really realize if this is something that will have a future or not. So what we have done, we created kind of a sandbox environment where we try all these POC, so it can happen very fast. And when we identify something that is promising, then we set up the real environment, the cloud, into the final setup, let's say. And with that, then we scale up. Of course, nothing happens unilaterally. It cannot be IT that scales up on its own. The use case has to be agreed and discussed with the final consumer and with the users, and make sure that it's exactly what they want to have. Also, another suggestion I can give is do not start big. Consider like an onion approach. You start with the core and then you add capabilities agent after agent. But it's like this, because if you think small, let's say, you can do big things, because technology is evolving so fast that you have to optimize and go live with the current technology, and then keep adding with what comes on top. Yeah.
You are also part of the Confare Female IT Mentoring, and diversity is a very important topic for you. So maybe you can tell us why you're emphasizing this.
I mean, it's also here back to my personal story, studying engineering as a woman few decades ago. We were 3 out of 300, and I went through comments from teachers saying, I wonder why these girls are here instead of being home cooking the soup, this story. Luckily, we are over this time, but not so much, because my daughter also studied at the ETH, and still the ratio between women and men is not so high. So my dream is that one day we will be kind of half present in the market, but not because it's a must. It's because that's the population, and we should start already earlier trying to get out of some stereotypes when they start playing, when they are small, And I was just lucky to have a dad that gave me a screwdriver, and I could start playing with that. But it's important, because there are different perspectives, and not only gender diversity, but cultural diversity, age diversity. The example I gave before, young, extremely motivated, but, without experience, that mix together with our senators that have such a thick skin, but don't know the new things, So all this mix of ideas and know-how can just bring richness, and can bring added value to the conversation. So I'm a big fan of mixing up different type of diversities to get to the best results. And honestly, if I can recall a few projects that I went through, the ones that had a representation of different backgrounds, let's say, really, they were the most successful. Yeah.
Of course. Great. So what would be your main recommendations for young women that try to step in the CIO role?
Okay. It's a recommendation that applies to both women and men, but curiosity. Never stop learning. Keep yourself up to date, and stay curious, explore, keep growing. Another one, maybe more for women, is do not underestimate yourself. This is what we tend to do. If somebody assigns you to a challenging role, take it. Because if they ask you, they see something, some potential in you, else they would fail with you. So if they ask you something and you don't feel ready, you are ready. You don't see that in front of the mirror. Last but not least, do not change yourself into a man. You are a woman, and if you have to stay different, emotional, unique. But if you, let's say, behave as a man, the entire idea of bringing a diverse opinion, diverse way of working will die there. So do not conform, and keep being yourself,
Thank you. These are really great recommendations.
Yeah.
You are nominated for the CIO award. Why do you think is it important to have this stage for IT and successful IT managers?
I asked the the same question to me in the past days after I got to know this. To me, it's important to celebrate IT success in general, because, we are usually the one working behind the scene, keeping everything running. And usually nobody notices where everything is going well. Only, if there is a problem, then IT comes to that conversation. But behind the scenes, the teams are working hard day and night. And so recognizing and celebrating IT, it's always important. And then, of course, it's a recognition to all these people, to my team, would be for them. And of course, also for me, it's a honor. But it was also a nice moment to prepare all the documentation, because it could help me to look back for a moment and see and understand all what we have done here. And I could really just thank my team and everybody that worked with me. If we did all these things that we put together, is also a shared award, let's say, with the entire team and with Sunrise. Yeah.
Anna, this was a very inspiring and interesting interview. Thank you very much for this. I'm very looking forward to meet you at the Swiss CIO Summit.
I will be there, yes.
And I wish you best of luck for the CIO Award.
Thank you, Michael.
So, see you soon.
Ciao.
Cheers from
Ciao.
Vienna. Bye-bye.
Ciao.